Here we go. Today we're going to talk about a core value here that we have, one of our 7 here at TLC.
Give every challenge everything you've got. You want challenges. You eat challenge for breakfast.
This is huge, man. At the very least, take accountability with yourself. Look yourself in the mirror and say, I could have did better.
It should be a natural hunger in you.
This is my jam right here, man. Listen, man, we do have a lot of fun around here, but we always get the work done.
Yeah.
And man, growing up and you know, you're the same age as me pretty much. Growing up in our generation, which means we were parented by the previous generation.
Right.
Man, that wasn't a good mix for them, right?
Right.
Their thought process was, if you're smiling, if you're having fun, if you're laughing, something's wrong.
Yeah.
Well, if we would have told them 40, 50 years ago, having fun, we get more work done, they'd be like, are you crazy?
What? You got to be crazy.
Children should be seen, not heard.
Yeah.
Be quiet, right? Lock you up or whatever, you know, paddle you, right? Because that didn't make sense to them, right? As a matter of fact, I remember when I worked at Ford Motor Company on the assembly line with Jack Fallon, ironically, man, we always had fun. We had our own radio, man, and we were selling hot dogs and T-shirts, and we were always laughing and kind of, you know, making fun of our friends across the assembly line. They joked back to us, practical jokes. And man, I remember like our supervisors and our area managers would always come and stare at us because they were convinced we were doing something wrong.
Right.
Because, wait a minute, you're on this assembly line and you're happy.
Yeah.
Something ain't right. And they would just sit there and stare. And then after a while, they'd be like, well, I mean, they're getting their job done. So I guess we'll go back to what we were doing. You know what I mean? Like, but let's get to this message because I jumped ahead a little bit.
You're still there. Oh, yeah, because we didn't read it.
Because we didn't read kind of like what goes along with this. See how we do. So having fun, we get more work done, right? This is the core value we're going to talk about today. Strong relationships aren't a bonus. They're a driver of performance. People are more motivated to work hard for a team when they genuinely like and respect the people around them. That's why it's essential to create an environment where your team has space to connect, have informal conversations, and feel truly valued.
Nice.
Age before beauty.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, especially tomorrow, I'm going a few years older. So believe it or not, when I read this, strong relationships aren't bonus, they're a driver of performance. People are more motivated to work hard for a team than when they generally like. Okay, when you read all that, for some reason, I heard Ronald Reagan.
Okay.
Speak.
A great communicator and connector, by the way.
I call myself the third greatest communicator behind Ronald Reagan and Winston Churchill. But I heard him in my head saying, Mr. Gorbachev, tear down this wall. Even listening to you earlier as you and Jack had transformed the atmosphere there at a mundane plant where everything you did was the same, just ordinary, mundane. It wasn't supposed to be. The supervisors were staring at you guys because how are they supervisors? They used to do what you did before.
Yep.
Right? But
Absolutely.
they weren't able to effect change in that atmosphere. Like what you and Jack did, it spilled over. Right? And so that's what it does. So going back to my tear down the wall, if you've got it in you to be creative, listen, work is going to be work any day of the week on Earth or Pluto. Work is going to be work. There's quotas. There's things that have to be done. Like if you don't do, let's go back to the assembly line. If you don't do your part, they can't do their part. Like there's the whole synergy there. But if you can pass down anything, pass down the right attitude, pass down the right approach to work. Listen, we need work. Work is necessary. Len and I woke up this morning talking about we got to do the floors. We're going to peel up the carpet, put some, and so that seems on its face because of the cost, because of the time, because of the planning, that seems on its face just too arduous to do. But when you consider an approach, okay, let's plan this. Let's do this. How about we do this? Leather calls me James Evans from Good Times. One episode of Good Times, they threw a rent party. Why is that? Well, because like the rent is due, but since we got to pay it, let's have some fun doing it.
Yeah.
And so you can't do that without affecting change in your atmosphere.
Yeah.
Damon West, that's his name, right? The coffee bean guy. Bruh, like he's got it right. Like you're either going to be
Damon, but
Damon
some people
West,
might say Damon.
You're going to either be hardened by your environment, softened by your environment, or you're going to affect change on your environment. Now, I'm old school. You guys saw me when I came in here. 3-piece suits every single day. I didn't want to hear nothing y'all was talking about polos and T-shirts to work in a corporate office. But what happened? Instead of hardening, I fully immersed myself in a culture that changed me for the better.
You really did,
Changed me. I came under Jim Causley. They called him the devil. And he was the meanest man. He would ride on his cart and see who was going to fire around Christmas. Everybody knew around Christmas somebody getting fired, right? But that hardened me. I was like, okay, this is straighten up, tight, fly right. I'm a manager. I'm in his inner circle. I'm like, fly right, be mean, be hard. But I couldn't do it. He told me, your little preacher boy, choir boy attitude, that's not going to work with those guys. You're going to have to cuss them out. You have to get in their faces. I never did it. But in respect to him, I kept professional. I kept the suit and tie. But I learned from Jack and John and Rosa and Big John and Lil Joe, all these funny names y'all had up here. I learned that it was okay and that the work wouldn't suffer, but your enjoyment in the work did.
Yeah. And fulfillment came with it too.
Fulfillment.
Right? I mean, come on, right? Like a job well done. Haley had some fun and everybody's happy. And
who does that?
I mean, come on, right?
TLC.
But again, it's breaking those generational habits, right? A lot of times you hear people talk about generational curses. I kind of always really correct people and say, for me, I had to break generational habits.
Yeah.
Right? There's habits that have been passed down along the generations to me that I had to break, in order to even like personal growth we were talking about earlier, right? Like that's not something I was ever exposed to. We just, be quiet and go to work.
Yeah.
Right. And don't bring any attention to the family. Like that was our personal growth. That does get you to a certain point, but it won't get you farther than that.
Yep.
Right. But going back to this message, it's crazy how I'm telling you the Ford Motor Company story about the assembly plant. And then before I read that strong relationships aren't a bonus, they're a driver of performance. People are more motivated to work hard for a team when they genuinely like and respect the people around them. Okay, I'm going to go right back to that assembly line story. Me and Jack worked on the assembly line. Guys, I don't know if you've ever worked on the assembly line in a big 3 auto company, or maybe Toyota, Hyundai, any of those like big auto manufacturers. The line does not stop.
Yeah.
It's a tragedy if the line stops. That line runs from the second your shift starts until the second your shift is over. And in most places, there's another shift that takes your place. So it's like you finish one part and the guy comes in for the next shift and he starts the next, right?
Yeah.
It's mundane. It's boring.
Yeah.
We figured out a way to make it fun. Okay. By the way, real quick, I'm going to say Damon West. If you want to look up something for your personal development journey today that can really bless you is look up a video on YouTube called Be a Coffee Bean, Damon West. And he tells the coffee bean story that Carl referenced. I think it will bless you and it'll really help you understand what we talked about today a little bit deeper. But going back to that assembly plant or that assembly line, we had fun. We had a stereo system, one of those old boom boxes. Remember those things with 2 speakers and the cassette tape in the middle, right? And we had it all set up, and we were selling hot dogs and T-shirts and telling jokes, and just there was an energy about us that people liked. How do I know this? I'm gonna go back to this message. People are more motivated to work hard for a team they genuinely like and respect when they generally like and respect the people around them. People would get offered jobs away from us, like drive a high-low on the other side of the assembly plant. It was a better job, right? It was going to be easier on the body. It wasn't as boring, right? And they would instead, decide to lift heavy metal parts all day long so they could work with us. Like, think about that, right? Like, and some people will be like, man, you're crazy. Why don't you take that job? No, man, I'd rather work here with these guys. Right? With this group of people, with this energy, with this environment, right? Because it doesn't feel as bad coming here. And I know over there, I'm not going to enjoy the time.
The rigors.
The work is one thing, but the time, the environment, the people around you, you're going to enjoy that. And exactly like this bonus says, strong relationships aren't a bonus. And sometimes we're like, oh yeah, like I hate my job, but I like my boss. Or I really don't like what I'm doing, but my coworkers are pretty funny or whatever. It's like, man, like those relationships can really impact in a positive way the workplace, the organization, the church, the home, the neighborhood, the city, the country.
Yeah.
Like you talked about, right? Like those things impact, man. And so we've got to continue to really understand that energy is everything.
Everything.
And so you can walk into a room and let the energy affect you, or you can walk into a room and let your energy affect it. You got to choose, man. And listen, like I'm talking about a factory. Damon West, if you look him up, talks about a prison. We say the assembly plant was like a prison. No, it ain't nowhere near a prison. It was pretty bad, but not a prison, right? Same thing. He walked into this place, and because he found a mentor before he entered into this prison, what did the mentor teach them? Hey, you got to figure out a way to have your energy impact the prison instead of the other way around, or else you're in big trouble. And so he learned that lesson. He understood that lesson, and he did what he was told from his mentor who set him on a personal development journey.
So you still talking about the homework?
Come on, man.
Yeah.
Come on now.
Wow.
And guess what? So what changed Damon West's life? Personal development.
Wow.
Personal growth, a different way of thinking, a different philosophy towards this hard life that we live in. It's a hard life, man. We got to get along with other people. We have to work. We got to pay our bills. We got to overcome struggles. We get sick. Things don't go our ways. People break up with us. We lose money. We make money. We're happy. We're sad. We get in car accidents. Our car gets beat up.
3 steps back.
Like we break our arm. I mean, things happen, right? And so it's our philosophy that has to change for when those things happen and when life comes our way. If we can change that, man. And this is one of the most important. Having fun, we get more work done, man. Like one of my last ride to the airport on Sunday when I came back to the United States from Rome, the driver had hanging from his rearview mirror a picture of the Joker. Okay. You know the Joker? I mean, the Joker's like, he's kind of like what's the word I'm looking for? He's kind of a mean dude, right? Like, I mean, he's funny, right? He laughs all the time, but he's, I mean, I'm looking for the right word here. It's sadistic. There you go. Okay. So, and he had it hanging from his rearview mirror, and it was a picture of the Joker, and it said, "Make sure you remember to laugh every day." I was like, "Hey, man, I like you."
Yeah.
Ciao, grazie.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, and it was a good reminder. And obviously he wants to be reminded daily. Like, make sure you laugh today. Yeah. And sometimes you just, if you can't find anything to laugh about around, you just laugh at yourself. Like, man, I goofed up today, man. Jeez, man, I made that look. What a terrible thing I did, man. Like, we'll get better tomorrow. You just kind of laugh it off, you know, and you try to, live to fight another day. But, like Sylvester Stallone says, life ain't all sunshine and rainbows.
Was that him?
Yeah. But
I did not know that.
You can make your own sunshine and rainbows. I had a family friend that passed away a few years ago. And I remember in the eulogy they were sharing, which I didn't know this. One thing that he would say all the time is, it doesn't matter what the weather is. It's always 72 and sunny right here. That's good. For those of you that are listening, I'm holding my hand right above my head right now.
That's good.
Right? Like, and that was his life philosophy. His philosophy was, it doesn't matter what's going on, what the weather is, what the situation is. It's always 72 degrees and sunny right here.
Nice.
And so that's it, man. I'm shutting up.
Listen, you never know how many lives you affect by just being jovial, being gay, being happy, smiling, laughing out loud. We'd be a sick society if we were actually laughing out loud like we text, we're doing. Half the time we ain't doing it. But I bet you if you did it, your world will get brighter. That's the 72.
100% it would.
That's the 72 and sunny right there. Because where it's happening in your head. And if it happens in your head, it's going to show off in your mannerisms.
Yeah. It's crazy too. Like, last thing, and then I'm really going to shut up because I said I'm going to shut up twice, I think. So when you're in these big urban areas, sightseeing areas, right? Like, eventually you walk up on people who are juggling or doing singing or whatever, right? And you're looking for a couple bucks or whatever, right? But if you really pay attention, here's what's different in real world than social media world. That I think is a huge lesson. That I guess I perceive things differently, or I look at things differently when I'm in those environments, right? So in Europe, anything that was happening that was fun People were singing, people were juggling magic tricks, right? The caricature guys that are spray painting real fast a picture of you. Like, they would make noise and happy and joy, and people would gravitate towards that.
Wow.
Right? Think about this.
Marketing 101.
They would gravitate towards that, right? But in public, when people are fighting, when people are getting ready to throw down and punch each other in the face, a big, huge traffic, like road rage thing is happening or something, people run away.
Yeah.
Think about that, right? Now, social media, it's the opposite, right? Isn't that crazy how it's opposite on social media? The fun stuff, the beautiful things that like people aren't gravitating towards that. But if there's any sort of drama happening, there's any sort of like hate or whatever, man, everybody's on that thing, watching it, commenting on it. It's crazy. So, but anyway, we know better. We're going to have fun. We're going to keep on getting the work done here.
Y'all know better than that. What does this core value mean to you? Stick it in the chat. Stick it. And listen, this community here, probably the funnest community I've ever been around.
Amen. I believe I absolutely 100% agree. And before I forget, I got to start saying this a little bit more often since, hey, we're going to do this. We might as well do it the right way. If you guys can share our podcast here and rate us, that would mean the world to us. Yeah. We would like to get on different platforms, more platforms, because we're not on all podcast platforms. But, if this 10 to 15 minutes of, weekly inspiration has impacted you, we would love to hear about it. And we would love for you to share that with someone else in your circle, maybe even an old friend.
Speaking of which, just to have a little fun here. So I sent this to my mama, and she asked me why didn't I iron my shirt before I went to work. So I told her I'd see if I could get another picture.
All right, I think you guys have had enough of us today. We're so grateful that you guys showed up here on a Monday to get your weekly inspiration. I think we're ready, guys, for the week. Let's go out there and have some fun and get some work done this week. Let's be grateful for this week and this day that was not guaranteed. And we will see you guys next week.